Hi everyone, today I want to share with you my adoration for Khadi Papers. So I first discovered Khadi Papers sketchbooks probably about 7 years ago, around there. So my first ever sketchbook has been this one here, and I bought it along with other items from Khadi Papers, which I'll show you in a bit. But basically this is the one that I am using most. So I made a swatch book out of this because the size is really good. Actually, let me pull out my ruler so that way I can tell you exactly the size of this. So this is 10 inches by 8.5, and it's a great size for me personally as a swatch book, because I get loads of swatches that are very decent size. So these are the classics, Prima watercolors. I'll show you Daniel Smith. So here I'm kind of needing a little bit more space, but what I may do is I might use some external pages that I'll show you actually. So I bought these ages ago as well. So this is 200 sheets, 320 GSM. I'm trying to think what texture or surface this is. Doesn't say, but it does seem to be possibly rough texture. So this one is a smooth, and although it says smooth, it's not in the classic understanding of smooth watercolor paper. It definitely is, you could call it cold press, so it definitely has lovely texture. So anyways, what I could do is I could just externally add some of these pages with like a washi tape if I needed some extra pages for swatches, and it doesn't really change whether it's from rough or smooth. The watercolor looks exactly as vibrant on both. I find it's only the texture that comes through differently, but that doesn't really matter for the swatches. So yeah, I basically use this lovely sketchbook for that, and my last entry is actually M. Graham Quinacridone Quintet set. So that is it, and just to show you, it's more than halfway through and it's fantastically binded. So it's got this thread binding, which is great, so it doesn't have any staples, and that means you can literally lay the sketchbook completely flat. Now although they are really fantastic if you like cold press paper and have that feeling of kind of organic kind of product, then you will enjoy it. And the other thing is, I have discovered that I actually prefer a soft cover journal to work in. So first things first, where is my, so this is the one I'm working in right now. So this is a Stillman and Byrne, and it's a soft cover, and I had a few of their hardcover journals, and I realized soft cover is for me the most kind of comfortable. I love the fact that it's bendy, and it just kind of feels like, you know, you can just work into it and make it kind of look nicely used, and I don't know, it just has a better feeling for me. This is the Alpha series if you're interested. And so this is where the love for soft cover journals started for me. So, and this is why I have then gone ahead and actually ordered two journals. One which is the same size as I just shown you, without, basically it's the same, exactly the same thing without the hardcover. It's the same size, the same paper, and yeah, it's just, it feels so good. It's kind of, you know, like bendy and stuff. The only thing is, of course, you have to do something with the cover. It could be that, you know, you're happy to leave it blank, or you could do some collaging here with perhaps some of those Much Podge or whatever they're called, you know, like this type of thing, like a collage medium where you make it look nice and matte. Or you could do some watercoloring here. You could put some gesso perhaps first, so it kind of feels a little bit thicker. You could do all sorts of things, but the point is that I just like the feel of it. And this is how it's binded. It's beautifully binded. I find that I have this obsession now with these kind of binded journals. I love the spine of it. They put some glue on here to make it a bit harder and I guess durable, and that is about it. Look at that, it's just paper and thread. That's all you need really, and just some brushes and watercolors and you're ready to go. So I love the feel and the look of it. So the other thing I have also ordered is the exactly same thing. So this is actually, it says here, hold on a second, I'm just trying to understand. So this one is, yeah, so this is 210 GSM smooth, and the size I have given you. This is also a 210 smooth, so exactly the same paper. And so is this one, 210 GSM, and it says it's 100% cotton rag. So it's actually made like handmade paper in India. And it's recycled rug. So it says here smooth hand stitch binding. Yeah, so you can use ink, watercolor, drawing ink, all sorts of things. And this is exact same thing, just a different size, and this is a smaller size. So I ordered a smaller size just to keep as a kind of like a swatch book. I'm interested to start, well, a different type of swatch book where I would mix colors and sort of come up with colors that I personally quite like, you know, like color mixes and stuff. So this is going to be just purely for that, just swatching out and mixing. And the size of this little one is, let's have a look, it's 6 inches by 5 and a little bit. So that's that. Now the other thing, yes, so it says here, here's the info. It says it's gelatin sized, acid free, 100% recycled cotton rag. So yes, the reason I love it, like I said, the watercolors seem to look very bright and very beautiful. Similar to arches, I find that watercolors look very bright. So the ones I already mentioned is the 320 GSM. Let me just get it out. So it's a square 20 sheets. So it's about 8.5 inches. And I just want to compare. So the thickness is very different. So it doesn't actually say what texture it is, but it does look like a rough. And the reason I say that is because I have something to compare to. So I have also this landscape sketchbook. This sketchbook I started ages ago, probably around the time when I first bought Khadi Papers sketchbook, so around 6-7 years ago. And it is, so it says here 210 GSM, and it's a rough. Now you'll see that the rough paper is like that, but so here is the texture, very similar, but keep in mind that this is a 320 GSM as opposed to 210, so there is a difference in the roughness. So if I just show you up close, there we go, you can see that. The other thing with the loose pages as well is that they are deckled, so they kind of look like they were ripped, and it sort of looks quite nice. And the edges are thinner than inside, so it feels like it's been pressed in such a way that, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see the little ghosting. It's like there are more layers of this cotton rag in sort of the actual paper rather than the edges. So it's a very cool looking kind of paper. And so that's that. Now let's come back to the size of this sketchbook. So this one is roughly 12.5 inches long and about 5 tall. So yeah, let's see, I don't even remember what it is here. So I did some fashion illustrations, so this one goes that way. So this is like I think these were supposed to be, oh yeah, Gucci 2013 ornate necklace, spring summer. So that I've done from a runway. There's some sort of Dior couture dress. Then there is a Fendi beauty look that they did autumn winter 13 as well. What's this? Simone Rocha autumn winter 13 as well. Just kind of fashion illustrations really. And then the last one was Gaga. I think this is from her album possibly. So I quite like that sort of colorful beauty look that she had on her face. So I've done the watercolor on that. It looks quite cool actually. I'd love to scan it. I mentioned it in a previous video that I'm actually looking for a nice printer / scanner, and I can't wait because it sort of takes your art further once you have a scanner and a printer, and you can just, you know, scan your own work, or you can scan something from a book or whatever it is, and you can just cut it out and do more work around it. It just becomes so much more fun. And the reason I say that is because that's how we used to work in college when I studied art. The printer was a big part of it. So that's where I then stopped. And then this has been more recent. This has been this year where I started doing swatches. And you can see how lovely and bright the watercolor looks. So this is Daniel Smith Green Appetite Genuine. And here I've been mixing it with a variety of blues and a variety of yellows, and that's just had a little play here with different schminkes as well, and that is it. So I haven't used it much, and I'm not sure at this point where I should go with this sketchbook because of the orientation. It's a very long, very thin, so either I do some sort of fashion illustrations or I just use it for a mix. I haven't decided, so I'm not really using it that much at the moment. And then finally I have this last one here. So the last two that I've shown you, so the bigger one and this one, which is both soft covers, I purchased them from Jackson's Art. All the other Khadi papers that I have purchased from an art store in London called Cassard. And this is their logo. And I used to live in Hampstead in London, and there was a shop there. I don't know if it still exists or not, but this is where I used to buy all of my art supplies before. And yeah, this is where I actually got introduced to Khadi papers. So it says here, handmade paper from the Khadi mill in South India. The paper is made from recycled cotton rag, and the rest we already know. So it's for ink, watercolor, and all art media. So, you know, what else could you ask for? So yes, this one, it is also a square orientation. It's also a soft cover. It's a square, as you can see. I'm not sure how many pages you get here, but basically you get like a orangey kind of terracotta colored inlay just once. So at the start and at the back, perhaps to introduce it as a sketchbook or something. I bought it for illustrating something and creating like a little art project, but I never actually used it. And this particular one I think was designed for Cassard, and maybe that's why they put the red paper inlay here. So I don't know if it still exists or not, whether you still can buy it. I tried to find all of these and link them below, but let me just tell you what the size of this one is. So this one is 6¼ inches. And yeah, it kind of feels good, but to be honest with you, I find square sketchbooks quite challenging to work with, because I then have to put whatever I'm illustrating sort of in the middle, it feels to me. Otherwise it will look odd if it's somewhere else on the paper. So I don't know what to do with it, but this is something that's been in my drawer for a very long time. But I just like to gather things. When I see something art related, I buy them, and then I'll find a way to use them, even if it might take 10 years, but I will use it eventually. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, just as a comparison, I want to swatch out some colors on different papers. I use one paper and then Khadi and just do the same swatches, and hopefully you'll see how bright and luscious the watercolors look on Khadi paper. Okay, so I just checked in case you're interested. This looks like a rough 210 GSM paper. So that's that.